Are you virtually teaching or doing a hybrid model and you're seeing that your student engagement is dropping? Well, I have 5 strategies I want to share with you. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm a counselor and a teacher coach, and today I want to talk about how to keep student engagement while you're virtually teaching, because it's very difficult to do. And if you've been doing virtual teaching now for a few weeks, you found that it can be very difficult and extremely frustrating to keep student engagement. So let's talk first about what are some reasons why student engagement could drop. Number 1 is that they might be getting asynchronous work that is way above their reading level. And when their independent reading level is really low compared to the work that they're getting, they're not going to be able to do the work. So it's going to be really important that you gauge the student's reading level, their independent reading level, when you're providing that asynchronous work for them. The second thing is there could possibly be no help at home. So the asynchronous work that you're leaving is not getting done because they need a lot of support. They might not be able to do some of the assignments that are being put there. But there's nobody there to help them out. So that could be another reason. Third reason is they don't know how to submit. So a lot of adults seem to think that because students are always on their social media and on their cell phones, on their iPads, that they just automatically know how to use technology. And the truth of the matter is that those social media sites are created so that they're so easy to use. You don't need to upload anything. It's as simple as, you just take a picture and there it is, it's done. They don't know how to attach items to a thing. I had a teacher tell me that she kept on telling students, open up a Word document, and students were like, what's a Word document? So we really have to teach them, not just once or twice, of how to submit work, often. And the best thing you can do is to video record yourself doing it step by step, and then having that video accessible to students so that they can go back and view it and rewind it and view it, so that you're not repeating yourself over and over. And that might help them be able to successfully complete the task that you want them to complete. All right, and the fourth one, which I think is really important, is that the student might not find value in the assignments that you are having them do. And I know that could kind of hurt your ego a little bit, but if the students don't find value in what they're doing, they're less likely to get it done. So trying to keep something that's interesting to them, something of value, something that they get hyped up for, is really going to help you increase that student engagement in getting those assignments done. So now let's jump into what you can do, some strategies of what you can do. But before that, please make sure you subscribe so that you can get updates on any new videos that we upload. Okay, so let's talk about what can you do instead. So number 1 is to do like a flipped classroom model where your asynchronous work is going to be what they're going to see the following day. So instead of practicing what they just learned, they're one step ahead. So what that helps is that it's not cold when you finally see the students. They have now heard it or seen it before. So for instance, if you're teaching a lower grade and the next letter that you're going to be covering is a letter M. So all your asynchronous work that they're going to do is on the letter M. How do you write it? How do you draw it? Songs about the letter M. Whatever it is, so that when you do see them, now you're supporting what they've heard and then they've already covered it. Let's say that you were going to do an anthology that you were going to read. Well, you could read it to them and record that, and then the students can hear it. So now when you're teaching them, they've already heard the story. Now you can really get into the story. You can do whatever it is that you had planned, but they've already heard it and now they're reading it again for the second time, and hopefully they listen to it. There are some books that you can find on YouTube that will be read to them, or a video on it, and that could be very helpful for that. Let's say you're doing a math lesson. They can watch a YouTube video on how to solve the type of problem that you're doing ahead of going to class and hearing it. Now they're hearing it now for the second time. It's not cold, they've heard it, they've seen it, and so now they're a little bit ahead of the game. So that's a strategy you can try, a little flip model so that they're ahead of the game. Number 2 is using something like Flipgrid. So instead of having students type, which some students are really struggling typing their assignments, they're just not good at typing and they get frustrated, or having to write, some students just take a really long time. But if that's not what your focus is, it's not on writing, it's really, let's say, getting the summary of a chapter. They can record themselves and then just send you the video, and then you view that, and that's what you're grading, is their response in a video. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want to learn another technology platform. I already have a lot that I'm going through, and I get that, and I hear that from a lot of teachers. Well, they can also use their phone. Have them record themselves and explain, I just finished chapter 1. This was the main character, or whatever the question is that you want them to do, they can do it through here. Or, solving a one-step equation. This is how I solved the one-step equation. First, and they just record themselves. It's almost like having them do a TikTok of solving a problem, or giving you the answer, right? Make it fun, something that they can even put music in the background. They might be excited to share that with you. Now, if you don't want to give students your cell phone number, maybe you can make a Google Voice, right? That's free. You could put a Google Voice number that students can access and text you. They won't have your actual number. And you can actually make it so that after a certain time, your phone won't be ringing, or you won't be getting text messages. So that's another option. All right, number 3 is to give students an opportunity to explore their passion. I had a student, he was 5th grade student, having a really hard time in class, just all over the place, a lot of behavior problems. But his passion was vacuums. You talk about vacuums or classic cars, and he was a totally different student. When students really get to explore their passion, they're more likely to want to participate. So let students explore their passion. Let them talk about them. Let them write about it. So in the work that you're having them do, if you make it about a passion project that they like, students are probably more likely to get that done. Next thing you can try to build communication with family and students. If students are not getting their work done, it could be that they're just not engaged, but it could be that something else is going on. And the only way we're going to know that is that if we reach out to families and call and find out what is going on. A lot of times I've been calling families to find out, and there is a valid reason why the student is not getting the work done. There's somebody that's sick at home and nobody's available to help them, and the student doesn't know how to do it independently. The internet is just not working for them appropriately, and it keeps logging them off. So it's not that the student didn't want to, it's just that there's something else going on. And so call and find out what is going on. I know that it takes time. I know that it takes time to call and to make those connections, but you can call, you can email, you can text message. There's just other ways of communicating, but that communication is going to be major, because you want to find out, why is the student not doing this work? We tend to just think they're just not motivated. They just don't care. And the truth of the matter is, most students really do care. It's just, is there value in what they're doing? And do they believe that they can do it? So the only way we're going to get to know that is if there's communication and there's talk. There are going to be a few students that just feel like, I don't like this way of learning, I don't want to do it. And so when we reach those students, then we need to take it to the next level of, how do we communicate, this is what you have to do, and how do we support you? But you won't even get to that step unless you communicate with family and students. All right, and the next thing you can try is incorporating Google Slides with something like Pear Deck to boost engagement. Now this one I'm really excited to talk about, because I see that this really boosts engagement because it's fun. So I want to share with you what that looks like. Okay, so if you haven't heard of Pear Deck, it is a really cool add-on that you can do. It's like a widget or a plugin, I'm not sure what you call it. But you put it on your Google Slides and then now makes it interactive with students. So in real time, you are getting some kind of answer and then you can provide answers. So you see the students' answers in real time and can provide some feedback, and students are getting feedback from you, which is so important, and that always is going to boost engagement. So here on this slide, you would want to start with something fun, right? Something to engage them. So the students would literally circle their superhero, and then you can see each individual student's answer. And you can talk about what students decided on, and then just make it fun. This one, are you a cat or a dog person? Engagement. Students are going to be excited to share about whether they're a cat or a dog person, what pets they like. That's going to boost engagement. Make it fun. This one, how do you feel about distance learning? They would drag a little dot and they would let you know how they feel about distance learning. And then you can have a conversation about it. You can engage students based on their response, and that's going to boost engagement. Okay, so next I want to go over some of the cool slides that Pear Deck has already embedded in their program, so that all you got to do is click and it just automatically puts it there for you. So I want to just go over a few of them so that you can see the value of using something like this to try to get students to want to answer and to be a little bit more excited in the lesson that you're presenting. So for this one, what did you learn from the homework? They would actually type, and you can see what they're typing in real time and be able to give feedback, and you can see each student's answer. How was the homework assignment? Again, you can gauge where students are, and then you can respond to that. Is this statement true or false? Right away, you'll know if students are participating. Right away, you'll know if students are engaged. Sometimes students have their cameras off, and then we're not sure, are they even still there? Do they walk away? And so this way, you can kind of gauge who's still there, and if you want to add points to that for participation, then that's even better. I know a lot of teachers are saying, well, the kids are not doing the work, so I'm not getting a lot of grades for them. Well, instead of using your asynchronous time for grades, use something like this where you're checking for understanding, and you can grade this for that, right? So for this one, true or false, you can give them 2 points if they got it right and 1 point for just trying and participating so that their points accumulate. And then they'll probably be more likely to try to answer. On this one, how do you feel? And I think this is a great one to gauge, because a lot of times if we're doing thumbs up, thumbs down, are you there? Did you understand it? Students might not be very honest. But with something like this where nobody else can see their answer, it's going to help you gauge who still needs some extra help and extra assistance. And then you'll know whether you can move on or not. Okay, next I want to go over what they have for different subject areas when you're actually teaching, right? And this goes back to having to grade students. If you don't want to grade them for the asynchronous work, I don't think you should. I think it's a headache, and you can grade them just on what you do live with them. So on this one, circle items that start with the letter B. You could grade this. You can see what they're understanding. On this one, it's multiple choice. Again, you can give a grade for the right answer, and students really trying to think and not just putting an answer. Although students love multiple choice, especially when you show all the responses, because there is an option where you can show everybody's answer, and students get excited for that. So this is going to hype them up as you go through all the answers. And again, you can grade it. You can give points for that. Draw the atom, and then again, you can evaluate. Did students understand? And that's the hardest part, I think, about virtual learning is trying to figure out, did they understand what I just said? Were they even listening? We're competing with social media while they're at home. And so with this, you can get some instant feedback for yourself. Like, are they there? Are they really there? If you're teaching language arts here, correct the sentence. The students can, with their mouse, they can write. I find that it's very difficult when they use their mouse. Luckily, at our site, when the students picked up their laptops, it had a stylus. So it's a little bit easier for students to write. But they could also type. So that could be a way that you grade them also. The last one I want to show you about is a math lesson. It happens to be a math lesson on dividing fractions. So students are taking their own notes at home, and it says here, move the thumbs up to this box when you're ready. So you won't start your lesson until students move the little icon to that box and you know everybody's there. And you know that you have everybody's engagement, because as you're talking to a lot of little boxes, and some of them are black boxes, you don't even know if the student's there. This way, you'll know if the student is there. In this slide, I have 3 different problems they can try on their own, and students can write in the answer and they can go on their own pace. So you know some kids are going to be able to do all 3, some might only be able to do 1, and that's okay. You can grade them appropriately. Again, you can grade this. You can grade it out of 3, you can grade it out of 2, and then the third one is a bonus, but you can give grades to this. And then that way you don't have to worry about having to grade that asynchronous work, because you're getting feedback right there. Okay, and the last one I want to show you is this one that has 4 problems. And as you can see, what it's having them do is solve the problem. But it's more than that, because what you want to be able to see is who did not get the lesson. This is kind of like an exit ticket. Did they understand what we just went over? And based on the answers, you can decide to pivot your lesson, continue your lesson, and this will give you feedback right away. The thing is, like, if we are using whiteboards and students are showing the answer, they could just be copying whoever they see on the screen. But in this method, it's what are they actually learning the content that you're showing them? It's instant, it's feedback, and it's just going to help boost engagement because it's fun, it's interactive, and maybe between some of those slides, you throw in something silly, a fun video, something engaging to get them right back to having fun with this. If you want to learn more about how to incorporate Pear Deck into your lesson and making it more engaging, I have a mini course that I just put up that is just going to be so helpful, because a lot of teachers were asking me, how do I incorporate Pear Deck to make it fun and engaging? And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put a mini course together and make it available. So if you want some more information on that mini course, go to cindyrosa.com to get that information on how to incorporate Pear Deck to increase engagement. And not only that, I also have on there on how to differentiate instruction using Pear Deck. So if you found this information useful, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like me to work with you one-on-one, all that information is at cindyrosa.com. Just go on my website and you'll be able to find all that information that you need to hire me to work with you. And as always, remember, we don't need to make students want to come to school. We want to create schools that students want to